Good afternoon and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Grumpy Snail podcast with your host, me, the Prince of the Punks, the uncancelable Jonathan Snyder, here with another podcast. Thank you for joining me. If you like these videos, go ahead, click the like button, leave a comment, share this on all your social medias, and subscribe. If you don't want to leave a comment, you can always send us an email at grumpysnailpodcast@gmail.com. Okay. Remember that we are on YouTube, and we are not a partner of YouTube. These videos that I post are not monetized in any way. So if you're seeing commercials, they're YouTube's, not mine. My commercials are like this one.
Coca-Cola is getting political, attacking Georgia's popular voting law. Why? To distract from years of dismal sales, terrible 2020 results, reports suspecting they benefited from forced labor in China. Coca-Cola products are poisoning America's youth and worsening the obesity epidemic. So the company tried funding phony science to minimize the harms, but they got busted. James Quincy, Coca-Cola. Stop poisoning our children. Serve your customers, not woke politicians.
So the internet decided that they were going to put Ellie Kemper in the news this past week. Remember Ellie Kemper from The Office and that Schmidt show that I don't watch? Yeah, they thought that she was a racist because she went to some sort of dance ball something when she was 19. So she's a racist and she needs to be canceled. They're going to cancel her. Completely forgetting about this racist, the one that we put into the White House. And you're like, well, no, he's not a racist. But you guys, I don't know why you have such a short-term memory. Take a look at this.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing.
Look,
agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well, there was a failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a local decision. So that's where the federal
government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail.
Specifically, have you taken a cognitive test?
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now, not out of a liberal instinct for love, brother, and humanity, although I think that's a good instinct, but for simple, pragmatic reasons. If we don't, they will or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Yes, we can never forget how much of a racist that Joe Biden is and always will be. This is the same guy that gave the eulogy to his best friend in the whole world, Senator Robert C. Byrd. Remember him? The freaking exalted cyclops of the Ku Klux Klan. Remember that guy? The longest running senator in the history of the American government. I mean, when the left talk about the systemic racism that they see in this country, I don't think of some Jim Bob with his Confederate flag shirt on with his MAGA hat. I think of these freaking swamp creatures. The whole Ku Klux Klan was the military branch of the whole Democratic Party. You're trying to tell me that we have a problem with white supremacy? I do not see it. They're all lies. They're lies. And no liar is bigger than Joe Biden, except for the highest paid government official. Yes, sir, Mr. Saint Anthony Fauci, right there. So the emails came out. The emails came out this week, and really all they confirmed was that, Anthony Fauci is the biggest liar in the whole world. I mean, we already knew that. It was obvious from the whole flip-flop, believe science, believe this, believe that. I know science evolves as we, learn about the reality of the nature around us, but it doesn't change like that. That's not how it works. I mean, the only thing that's worse than the whole Anthony Fauci lying thing is this whole gain of function lab leak theory that, we talked about it back in January last year, and the media said, no, you can't talk about that. You can't talk about, if you talk about that, you're conspiracy theorists, you're pushing fake news, and now it's like, it is the news. This lab leak is the news, and the media talks like, well, we couldn't let you talk about it because Orange Man bad. I mean, it's just stupid. Well, it just looks like Soviet propaganda media is what the whole branch. I mean, it's ridiculous. How do you people not? How do you turn on CNN and watch it like it's news? It's ridiculous. I mean, what's wrong with you people? This isn't North Korea. Why do you believe the crap that they're putting on these news channels? It's just completely. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. It really doesn't. I don't know how much more I could go over this. I mean, I'm not news at all. All I do is sit here and talk to this camera, but I have more credibility than they do. I didn't sit here and say that you can only say these things, and if you don't say these certain things, then all my friends are going to take you off the internet, because that's what they did. They're just, if you're going to talk about this lab leak thing, then you're gone. Bye-bye. See you later. Your friends aren't going to like you either. You're going to lose your friends, your family. You're going to fight with them. You're not going to get along, and And look at where we're at. Look, the whole country is slowly imploding. I mean, if you can't come together on these small things and the other stuff that we're going to get to in a minute it's just bad. It's all bad. Every day I turn on the news. Every day I turn on the news and I listen to it almost all day long. All day long, I just news. I take it all. I take it in, and I even take in all the lies. I take that in and compare and contrast. Let's look at this. Let's look at that, and I just feel completely overwhelmed with it every single day. And the only thing that's worse is that people out there believing all the lies that these propaganda stations are pushing, and it's upsetting. It's upsetting to slowly watch the deterioration of American society. But we can always laugh at our next sponsor, Nike. So if you like Nike, then you're going to love this.
Nike is constantly political. Why? Cover. Congressional reports suspect Nike used forced labor in China. Religious minorities were ripped from their families, sterilized, sold to factories. Nike made shoes in those same areas. Congress tried to ban Nike's labor practices. Nike fought back with highly paid lobbyists. Rather than hiring Americans, Nike chose China. John Donahoe, Nike. Stop exploiting foreign labor. Serve your customers, not woke politicians.
So we talked several weeks ago about the food shortages that were coming because of so many reasons. What's funny, well, not fun. When I say funny, I don't mean haha funny, because nothing's that funny anymore. It's still an ironic funny, but the thing that is ironic is the issues that we have. Whether you're talking about like inflation and all that stuff, it's not like a one root cause. If we just fix this one thing, then we'll fix everything. It's like a combo. It's a combo of things all happening together at once. It's a perfect storm of civil collapse is what it is. So, we talked about the food shortages just based on the fact that instead of working like normal when we had this pandemic, we were just going to shut things down. So that's our baseline. So our baseline is we're going to shut things down. Because of that, there's going to be less supply overall. Then let's factor in that when things are good, like they are now, where we have over 50% of the American population is 100% vaccinated. 2, something like, we don't even know the number, but something like 30, 40 or so percent of those people that haven't gotten full vaccination, I'm not even counting the ones that have gotten one shot, because that makes your resistance 80% or 70%, whatever the hell it says now, resistant to COVID. We're talking about the 30 or 40% that have gotten sick and have a natural antibiotic resistance to this virus. Or not antibiotic, because that would be, that's not viruses. But a natural immunity to the virus because they have gotten infected. So, if you want to talk about a herd immunity, we're at it. But, people still aren't going back to work for multiple reasons. One, we'll say the government has these programs that are paying people more to stay home than to go to work, or they're paying them enough that extra couple $100 that they're going to get on a paycheck isn't really worth it to them to go to work. So one, we have that one. 2, there's still crazy progressive leftist people out there that are still terrified to go to work because they need mommy and daddy government to hold their hand for everything they do. So that's happening as well. Because of that, people still aren't working. What's happening is that businesses can't keep up with supply. I mean, can't keep up with demand. Supply can't keep up with the demand. 3 is the fact that people had this influx of stimulus cash and they want to spend it. So that's what they're doing. They're spending it. Now, I mean, I guess, or I would assume, but you know what happens when you assume, that some people are going to use their stimulus and whatnot on their debts. But, some people are spending it because that's what you're supposed to do with stimulus money. You're supposed to spend it to stimulate the economy. So we have that. That whole storm of things is happening. And then we have this hacker, this ransomware into one of the largest meat packing company. It supplies 25% of the beef in the country. So that also is going to hit supply and cause the prices to skyrocket. So it's not just one thing that's causing all of this. Of course, you're since we're pumping money out, it's causing inflation. So I mean, and that's going to cause shortages. The money that you have is not worth as much, so you can't purchase as much with it. It's all together is causing this terrible thing that's happening. And the Jen Psaki did this press conference where they were talking about this ransomware issue because, we had it with the oil pipeline and they paid it because the private businesses had to, take care of themselves. And again, they come out and say, well, this is a private business issue. They have to take care of themselves. And this passive-aggressive nonsense is a crock, is what it is. Because if this private business was struck with a freaking Russian missile and blew up, would you say, well, it's a private business. I guess the insurance company's going to have to cover all their losses. Is that what the government is going to do? They're not going to say, hey, no, is that? But no, this whole thing, it's a private business. Just so they can force people to go, please, government, why don't you do something? Why don't you, as a government, take over this private entity? It's part of our infrastructure. The food supply is part of our infrastructure. So the government has to control it. That's what the whole thing is. The whole thing is so the government can have more control over the entire system of everything. I mean, if that's they're in education, they're trying to get into healthcare. They're already over police enforcement. So it's just more encroachment into private business. So and they act like you can't see this. And I'm sure most people at home don't see this because they're not tuned in all the time. They're just freaking trying to go to work and take care of their 3 kids and wrangle them together and get to school, to education, and trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills and feed everybody, and they don't have time for all this nonsense. And so that's freaking weaselly thing that the government does, where they just it's like they just use all this so they can just scrape more control into it. And it's just, I just wish people would pay more attention to everything that's going on around them. It's not, you can't just stick your blinders on and go to day. I mean, pretty much that's what the rural communities are going to do, because they really can sort of get away with this in certain states, with West Virginia and Texas and Tennessee and Florida, any places where they're even in these red states where they have all these blue cities. They're all the great big red swaths of places. Those are going to end up being sanctuaries for people that don't want to be under the freaking boot of the state. And I use state as, you know, the general government term state, not the state. Kind of got off on a tangent there. But let's pay the bills with another ad. If you like American Airlines, you should check this out.
American Airlines, rated the worst, losing the most bags, shrinking legroom during COVID. American requires passengers to show ID to fly, but attacks Texas's popular voter ID law. Why is CEO Doug Parker trying to appease the radical left? To distract from billions in taxpayer bailouts, from his $10 million payday, from Americans' record layoffs. Doug Parker, American Airlines. Serve your customers, not woke politicians.
I meant to cover this last week, but got a little long-winded, and because my viewer count is so low, I don't know if people prefer this type of information given in long form or short form. All I know is it's a pain to upload long, large files, so I try to keep it lower. But like I said, it just got really long-winded last week. There's so much information to put into the video, so kind of left this one out. But with all the stuff going on in the Middle East between Hamas and the Palestinians and Israel, you know, we had the ceasefire, and that seemed to be kind of okay. So things aren't going crazy over there at the moment, but it really looks like Benjamin Netanyahu is on the outs, because the other government, I don't even know how to say it, the other people inside the government, the other organizations inside the government, because the way the Israeli government is organized, they have people, you know, they have Arab group, and they have Israeli groups, and the left and the right, and they're all kind of, you know, in their own little sects. And the opposition to Benjamin Netanyahu is they've kind of coalesced together into one big organization, kind of go against him. So it really looks like he's kind of on the outs. So there may be a change in the way the Israeli government operates, but we'll have to, you know, wait and see how that goes. Hopefully they can, you know, work things out, figure out what needs to happen, because it's, you know, we have enough on our plate without this whole anti-Semitism pouring over into the street. There's already the white supremacy and the white oppressors and the Asian hate, and we really don't need the whole anti-Semitism, people hunting down Jews out in the street and beating them in New York and whatnot. So it'd be really nice if that would kind of smooth itself out. But, you know, it's unfortunate, because we have things like this video where this guy went around this college and asked to, you know, get donations, you know, so we could possibly, maybe, perhaps, if we could just try hard enough to really just wipe Israel right off the map.
I'm Ami Horowitz, and I'm here in the Pacific Northwest, the American home of the BDS movement, boycott, divestment, and sanction of Israel. I want to see if these guys are willing to take it to the next level. We're raising money for American Friends for Hamas. So I work for American Friends for Hamas.
Okay.
We're not your father's terrorist organization. We've kind of evolved beyond that. You know, still kind of what we do, but we've kind of rebuilt and rebranded ourselves. And you know, Hamas is where it's at. We're raising money to do what we do as Hamas. We want to fund operations against Israel. And the type of attacks we're talking about are cafes and schools and soft targets. Type of operations we're talking about against, soft targets, schools and cafes and that kind of thing. Make them feel it. Hospitals and destroy cafes, shopping malls and schools and places of worship. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Civilian populations. And that's the only way we can fight back, really. The suicide bomber's all we've got. I mean, that's kind of like, because it's the poor man's F-15. Right. And do we again against Israel, and that's kind of what we're looking to do. Okay. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
And fund operations against Israel. That's the kind of thing we're doing.
Okay. Well,
hey, thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you. We're essentially the logical extension of BDS. It's like BDS next level is what we're doing. We're kind of like the next level BDS. It's like BDS, and then we're like BDS plus. We're looking to wipe Israel off the map. Yeah, we want, we're looking to destroy Israel. We don't want just Gaza. We want to have all of Israel.
I've actually been learning about in this last school year about everything that's going on over there, so I like the sound of what you're doing. It sounds like the great thing to do.
Yeah, totally against the Israeli genocide.
Awesome. We just want to get rid of Israel, and it's for the Palestinians. Stay off drugs. But we would love you to check out our website.
That would be wonderful.
Good luck.
Thank you. If you feel like donating to help the cause, to fight back, and that'd be great.
For sure, we'll definitely.
And maybe consider making a donation.
Sure.
Great.
Probably like $15.
$15?
Yeah.
No, that'd be great.
I don't know, maybe like $10, $20.
15 to 20. $5 or $10.
Maybe like $10.
$5.
$10. $10.
$5 or $10.
$10.
Let's say $27, since that seems to be my Bernie donation.
This is all about peace and love. We got to fight back against the oppressors.
I agree.
See you, brother. Yeah, I mean, it's important to kind of fight back and not take it lying down, if you know what I mean. Hey,
sure,
peace and love.
Yeah, thank you.
Peace and love.
Yeah, peace and love.
See you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, take it easy.
Appreciate it. Hamas thanks you. I thank you.
Thank you.
Peace and love. You believe peace is important, right?
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
But to get peace, you first got to destroy some stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, we've been seeing videos like this for as long as I can remember, but it's always kind of depressing to see that sometimes the areas of higher education seems to have the most uneducated people. Maybe that's why they're there. I don't know. I don't know. But that's going to be the podcast for this week. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, try to keep it short, not long-winded, so that it's easy to upload. And it doesn't take you as long. You don't have to waste so much time of your life watching it. But yeah, so if you like the videos, make sure you click the like button. If you haven't subscribed, I don't know how you get to this video and not be subscribed. But click the subscribe button, and you get to see all these other videos. You can click the bell or not. Seems like YouTube that doesn't really work, even though they say that's how it's supposed to work. They'll still suppress and allow whatever videos they want to allow. And if you don't want to comment down below, you can always send us an email, grumpysnailpodcast@gmail.com, and that's pretty much it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Cheers. Godspeed.